Hello, in this video we are going to try to write our own code to generate random numbers. So let's first start by trying to generate a random decimal from 11 to 13, not including 13. So the way I like to think about this is, well, I want to start with the number 11, and then I need to add on some type of number so that I get to almost 13. So basically, let's try to add on. I want to add on nothing because I want to stay at 11. And then I want to go ahead and add on how much more? About almost 2 more to get to 13. So I like to just start this way and then work backwards. So then I think, okay, how do I do 0 to almost 2? Well, I could do math.random, right? Times something. And since we want to go to almost 2, if I just do math.random all on its own, that's going to give me 0 to almost 1, which is not what I want. So 0 to almost 1, that's not what I want. So in order for me to expand it out a little more, I should try 0 to almost 1 times 2. Let's see if that works. Okay, let's try to do this. So 0 to almost 1 times 2, distribute, that's just 0 to almost 2. And then if I need to add 11, then that's going to be 11 plus 0 to almost 2. 11 plus 0 is 11. 11 plus almost 2 is almost 13, which is what we want. So this looks good to me. So I'm going to go ahead, circle the answer that I got. This other stuff is just kind of like checks, you know. So let's do another one. So in this case, we will generate a random integer, not decimal, just an integer from 22 to 25. Let's start similarly. So I could start at the number 22. I want to add on 0 to 3. Because 22 plus 0 is 22. 22 plus 3 is 23. So what I have to do is I need some sort of random number to go from 0 to 3. I need an integer, so might as well typecast it to an integer. And let's just do math.random times something. Not really sure what it's going to be. Let's try this. Okay, so I need to add on 3. Let's see what happens if I add on 3. Okay, this looks right, but let's just check this. So math.random is 0 to almost 1. Let's times that by 3. So 0 to almost 1 is times 3 is 0 to almost 3, which is just 0 to 2.9. But remember, I have to int all of this. So I have to int 0 to 2.9. So int 0 to 2.9 is just going to be 0 to 2. And if I do 22 plus 0 to 2, that's going to give me 22 to 24, not 22 to 25. What should I do? Well, I just need to change the number. So let's try to make it a little bigger. Maybe we can make this a 4 instead. That way, when we times it by 0 to almost 1, it's really just 0 to almost 4, which ends up being 3.9 repeating. And now, after I int that, I will end up with 0 to 3 instead, which is the type of thing I want. So this is the answer that generates the code that we need. So for this problem, sometimes what I like to do is when I want to generate a random integer, I just try to pick out the smaller number first, let me redo that. Pick out the smaller number first, then add it on to some random number that I need. Kind of like in the other examples. So this tends to come in handy in any example, but especially when we're dealing with negatives. So I want to go from -8 to -3. This one tends to be a little trickier for some people. Well, let's first of all think, okay, which number is smaller, -8 or -3? It is -8. So let's start by doing -8 plus, and then we need to add on some type of random integer. So I'll just say some type of integer from 0, because we want to go to -8 to, let's think, -8 plus 0 is -8. -8 plus what gives me -3? -8 plus 5 gives me -3. So that looks pretty good. So now all I have to do is just translate this to a random integer from 0 to 5. So I'll do -8 plus int parentheses math.random times, and then what I need to do is figure out what number I should times by. Should I do 5? Let's see. Okay. Math.random is 0 to almost 1. Times that by 5, I get 0 to almost 5, which is 0 to 4.9 repeating. Of course, I still have to int that. Just remember that that's really in parentheses. Int 0 to 4.9 is really 0 to 4. Uh-oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted 0 to 5. So let's change that so that we'll increase that to 6. 1 minute, I'm sorry. So that this becomes 0 to almost 6, which is 0 to 5.9 repeating, and that is the 0 to 5 that we really want to add on. So that looks pretty good. It's always good to check your answer, and this is the code that we want as our answer. All right, that's it for that one.